Now that Mia's mom loves me, or like we reconciled, she's like,
So a long time ago,
like, be there for my daughter.
I swore that I would never use a Mac. Over my dead body was I gonna use a Macintosh machine. I was diehard, Windows for life. I don't even want to hear about it. Any Mac, please. Even though the first PC that I started on was a Mac, it was actually Apple II. And then later on there was the Power PC from Macintosh, which was used at the local universities. But needless to say, I'm not going to get into all the reasons why I've not liked Mac. Oh, there's actually a company I used to work for that had G4s as well. And that was their powerful Mac PC back in the day. Anyway, I've been on the MacBook Pro for about a week now. And I'm going to give you guys some feedback on what I think so far about the MacBook Pro. So, first of all, we always got to start off with the beautiful screen. That's the first thing to comment on with MacBooks, with their phones, and a lot of things like that. It is a great screen, and it'd be nice if I'm not blocking the screen on this. So it's a great screen. It seems to be very fast and powerful, and zippy, and overall, I'm surprisingly getting accustomed to it. I'm liking it. I'm liking it so far. I'm surprised I'm saying that, but I'm liking it. And don't get me wrong, I have not been sort of a Mac hater per se, like Mac sucks, they're the worst. If anything, the thing that bothered me more was the sort of fanboy culture, where it's Mac is the best, it's perfect, nothing's wrong with it, it never crashes, everything just works, it's so easy, so intuitive, all the nonsense. Yes, it can be intuitive, as can Windows, but it can also be the exact opposite of intuitive. That is something that happens. And you know, sometimes you're trying to do basic things, and the thing that's always amusing to me is when I have troubles with some basic things, and then I ask Mac users who've been bragging forever about how easy it is, and they don't know how to do it either. That happens so many times. They're like, oh, I don't know how you do this. And then I'm like, I tried this, I tried that. I'm like, yeah, I would expect that to work, but it's not really working. I had that at the Google office. I had it at my current place where I'm at right now. So it's always amusing to me. You know, it's so easy, it's so intuitive, but yet some very basic things can't figure out. Me, a computer guy, been using computers for years, and I don't have enough tech savvy to figure out how to do a basic thing on a Mac. But then it's not even because some people say, oh, well, just because of you're used to Windows' way of doing things. Windows has a sloppy way of doing things. But same person saying that can't figure it out either. So explain that to me, how the Mac user is unable to figure out the basic things that I can't figure out either. And these things, it's a pattern. I mean, I've been using the modern day Macs for about let's just say the last few years, maybe, off and on. My computer is Windows, but you know, at Google they have Macs there. So light exposure to the Macs for a few years, and a pattern has always been that, again, some very basic things, can't figure out how to do it, Mac users don't know either. So anyway, that's the casual observer feedback. Now, as a person who has been using, for professional purposes, a MacBook Pro for a week, what is my feedback? Again, I do generally like the laptop. There are a couple of quirks that I've run into that are sort of obstacles for me. And one for one is the maximize function, the way you maximize windows. It is very, very hardcore. It's like, this is a maximized window. It is maximized. Transformers, I don't know. It's just, this thing always crashes. So if I have a window maximized, right? And I go to another application, right? And I open up another application in the same desktop. You have this concept of multiple desktops. So you have like virtual desktops. So for example, on one screen I can have two desktops. One desktop can have a bunch of web-related applications. The other desktop can have a bunch of audio-related applications, right? So by simply swiping my fingers or whatever, I can switch desktops and see the different programs that are open on that desktop. Actually a really cool feature. However, if I have an application maximized, go to another application, and have that application open in the same desktop, right? So the same desktop, same virtual desktop. And when I say virtual desktop, it's not like a VMware. It's just an arrangement of windows. You know, you have a bunch of programs that are open, and you can sort of group them together visually, right? So when you click on one desktop, you're gonna visually see the applications that are in that desktop, right? So again, full-size application, move to another program in that same desktop. Now, when I move around and go somewhere else and look something else, and say I want to go back to that second application that's not full screen on one desktop. So again, you have one desktop, a full screen app, and one app that's not full screen. I click on the app that's not full screen, expecting to see the application open up. I mean, hey, I clicked on the application, right? One would expect when you click on an application, it should open up, right? I mean, that seems quite logical. Unfortunately, on the Mac, what happens is, I think you will see the full screen app. And I don't know what circumstance that makes sense. You know, if I click on Outlook, I expect Outlook to open. I don't care that Outlook is on a desktop that has another application that's in full screen. Get over it. I had it in full screen. That's in the past. Now I want to go to another application. Don't force me to minimize the application first, the one that's maximized, so that I can now see anything else on that window. That's kind of ridiculous. So that's frustrating. And there's some other things too in terms of, and I think I'm gonna do some screen shares. It's better for me to show than to talk about it. But there's some other things too where it's always the maximize. A lot of times it's the maximize thing where I can't find an application, or I'm having some kind of issue, something's in the way, some navigation related issue, and it's because something's maximized. That being said, look at this over here. A little choir or something going on over there. That's the main thing. Other than that, there's some really cool things. I like the cleanup of zip files and downloads. It automatically asks you, hey, you want to delete this stuff. That's nice. I like the spotlight search. You can just do Control space or space, I think, and then it opens up this box. I can just type in CRHO, enter. Automatically, I'm just going to go to Chrome. It searches for applications. I guess in a way, it's sort of like the start menu, when you go into start menu and you can start typing things. So maybe not that much different than what you have in a Windows environment, but I do like the feature nonetheless. But I think ultimately it's really, really best for me to show you guys. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a screen share and show you guys actually me on the system and go over things I like and things I don't like. So since I'm just talking, I'm just going to keep it simple and just say I like it overall, but it definitely does take some getting used to. There's some funky things that in the middle of the day and it's like, oh shoot, where's this window? Or how do I get over here? Or why is this opening? Today I spent like 3 minutes trying to scale down a window. I don't know if it was because of the software. It was a zoom window, so it could be zoomed, their software. You would move the mouse to the corner of the window and the little double arrows would pop up for a split second and go away. It was like a game. I'll keep moving around, hovering around the corners, top corner, top left, top, lower left, the arrows pop for a split second and go away. And before I could click on it, it's gone. It's like it's playing hide and seek with me. That was really annoying. I mean, I'm trying to do a simple thing of, making a window smaller, and no matter what corner, this thing is just hiding from. Another thing like that I have that happens frequently is and this could be a Chrome thing, but Chrome browser in a maximized mode, which I don't know if it's the Mac maximize or Chrome maximize, but in some maximize mode, the way you're supposed to get out of maximize is you can put the cursor on the top of the window, hover it or click, and then the bar will pop up where you can see the tabs and options and things like that. And I have one window very, very frequently doesn't do that. So I have this window, it's full screen for one particular website. So I go to that window, and all I can see is this full screen of that one tab. I can't go to the other tabs. I can't minimize it. I can't maximize it. I can't do anything. I'm just hovering the mouse around the top of the window, hovering it around, clicking, hovering around, clicking. Sometimes part of the window will show up where maybe just the Chrome part of it, but not the Mac part of it, because the Mac has the maximize, minimize thing. So sometimes that shows up, sometimes the other thing shows up, but it's always a game of trying to get this damn thing to show up. In this particular window, it's Chrome, so it could be a Chrome issue. But regardless, I have Chrome on Windows and I have never had these kinds of issues. So definitely not a perfect system, definitely some quirks. Overall, what's my feedback? Mac versus Windows? We'll have to see. And it is Mac versus Windows, not Mac versus PC, because Mac is a PC. In fact, one of the first PCs I worked on was a Mac. And again, as I mentioned before, about 1996, 1997, you had the PowerPC by Apple. Anyway, this is Carlyle Wall Street, and I need to get back to the office. So I am out of here. Take a quick look in the chat. All right, guys, until the next episode, I will see you.